mental health professionals described a man whose grip on reality was tenuous at best, whose ability to understand legal proceedings was severely compromised by his illness. But Patton State Hospital wasn't just a treatment facility. It was also a place where murder was a constant concern. Some defendants faked or exaggerated mental illness to avoid prosecution, and the staff was trained to spot deception. For months, Mercado underwent intensive treatment, anti-psychotic medication, individual therapy, both sessions designed to restore his connection to reality. The goal wasn't to cure him completely. Some mental illnesses can only be managed beyond reason, but to bring him to a level of competency where he could understand the charges against him and assist in his own defense. The treatment showed progress. Slowly, gradually, a blank stare began to fade. Mercado started responding to questions, engaging with staff, demonstrating awareness of his surroundings. But just as his doctors began to consider him ready for trial, something strange happened. It got worse again. The pattern repeated itself several times. Improvement followed by regression, failure followed by confusion, cooperation followed by catatonic episodes. Mental health professionals began to suspect that Mercado might be manipulating his symptoms.
Time to race through the countryside.
To avoid facing trial. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a forensic psychologist and a second opinion, spent weeks observing Mercado's behaviors. She noticed inconsistencies that raised red flags. There were ongoing events that felt worrying as logic. Mercado displayed awareness and personality that contradicted his supposed mental state. There were times when he would be completely unresponsive during formal evaluations and submission of the data. But security teams caught him having long conversations with other patients, reading magazines, even watching a television show. One order of inconsistency, always suggested high level. On Thursday, September 2015, when Mercado was returned from Patton State Hospital for another competency evaluation. This time, Dr. Mitchell employed more sophisticated testing designed to catch defendants who were faking symptoms. The results were conclusive. While Mercado had suffered from legitimate mental health issues, he was deliberately exaggerating his symptoms to appear more impaired than he actually was. His condition was serious but manageable, and he was fully capable of understanding the legal proceedings against him. On December 15th, 2015, Judge Mark released Carla Mercado as competent to stand trial. Finally, nearly 2 months after his arrest, the man who had shattered the Budge family would face justice for his crimes. But as prosecutors prepared their case, they made a discovery that would change everything. Mercado's defense team faced him with an unexpected offer. Mercado agreed to plead guilty to all charges. January 12th, 2017. After more than 4 years of regular psychiatric evaluation and comprehensive Carla Mercado finally stood before Judge Frederick Lee to face the consequences of his actions. The courtroom was packed with family members, journalists, and curious observers who have followed the case since that terrible Christmas Eve. What happened next surprised everyone. Guilty, Mercado said quietly, and asked how he pleaded to the first count of murder.
Match the color of the passengers by dragging them from the platform to the square of the same color.
He said a third time.
Done.
Seeing his fault, and finally getting the evidence from him, Dr. Mitchell had waited years to do it. But order of justice was served, the most important question remained unanswered.
Good work.
Why did
Those
Carla
passengers
Mercado
are all
decide to
aboard.
destroy 3 innocent lives on Christmas Eve? Deputy District Attorney Brian Phillipson had prosecuted hundreds of murder cases during his career, but he had never encountered anything quite like this. In most homicides, you can establish a clear motive, he told the court during sentencing. Money, jealousy, revenge, domestic violence. There's usually a comprehensive reason, however twisted, for why someone
That was
commits murder.
great.
In this case, we believe the killers were completely unaware. Now, the way Carla incorporated the case, one believed that Sally, Julia, and Aruna
Gặp
would
ngay
have
cả
been
số
targeted
Jeff.
for who they were or what they had done. They had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the earthly alien with a loaded gun decided to act on whatever dark impulses were driving him. According to the sparse details that emerged during plea negotiations,
Ready, set, Bill. The engines are looking forward to seeing what you can create.
Investigators never determined. What they did know was that armed himself with a 22 caliber pistol equipped with a homemade silencer and set out into the parking lot looking for victims. The timeline that prosecutors reconstructed was chilling against methodical detail. Ricardo first encountered Johnny, probably approaching his car under some pretext, asking for help, directions, When Jimmy rolled down his window to assist what appeared to be a string of bodies, Ricardo shot him in the head at point-blank range. But instead of fleeing immediately, Ricardo made a decision to transform the civil murder into a massacre. He drove Giles' car, with the body still inside, to pick up Helena from her job at the mill.
The green shell is where the basic tracks are stored. This is the engine shelf. Here you will find bridges, tunnels, obstacles, and lots of other fun things. In the orange shelf, you'll find all sorts of buildings, trees, and other decorations. Simply choose a terrain by tapping on it. Then you can paint your train set directly with your finger.
When she approached the vehicle expecting to see her fiancé, she found herself face to face with his killer. The evidence suggested that Helena tried to run. She made it only a few steps before Ricardo shot her in the back, then again in the back of the head as she lay dying on the asphalt. But Ricardo still wasn't finished. For reasons that defied comprehension, he returned to the parking lot where Sal was waiting for his brother at a moment to return. Maybe Sal had tried to call them. Maybe he had gotten away and decided to look for them. Maybe he was simply in the wrong place when the killer decided to complete his work. Ricardo shot Sal right between the eyes, as Prosecutor Erickson would later describe it. The precision was unsettling. 3 victims, 3 headshots, 3 lives ended with calculated efficiency. Judge Lynch showed no mercy during sentencing. 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus 30 years for attempted murder, 30 years for home invasion, and 12 years for robbery. Ricardo would spend the rest of his life in prison, never again walking free among an innocent victim who had proven himself capable of destroying. The Belvedere family's victim impact statements painted a picture of devastation that extended far beyond their parents who would never see their sons graduate, marry, or have children. A future sister-in-law who psychology studies couldn't help her understand the mind of the man who had murdered her fiancé. Extended family and friends whose lives had been forever altered by one man's inexplicable violence. But there was also unexpected grace in their lives. Sal's organs had been donated after his death, saving multiple lives and giving his family some small comfort that good had emerged from tragedy. The family announced plans for a non-profit charity in the victims' names. So his family agreed to take action that would help others. The legal case was closed, but questions lingered. The Belvedere family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Westfield Ag, alleging that negligent security and insufficient lighting had contributed to the tragedy. The lawsuit highlighted uncomfortable truths about public safety in spaces where millions of Americans shop, work, and
If you'd like to
socialize
stop
every
to look
day.
around,
The case was eventually featured on television
Stop! All aboard! If you'd like to stop to look around, pull the big handle.
But for those who know and love Sal, there was nothing entertaining about their story.
Good job! You've made the engines very happy.
Serving his life sentences in the California correction system. He gives no interviews, expresses no
How
remorse,
wonderful your train set is.
for his actions. The man who destroyed 3 families and terrorized the community has retreated settled into the same silence that characterized the ordinary life before he became a killer.
If you'd like to
His
stop
quote
to look
raises
around,
disturbing questions about the intersection of hypothesis and reality, about the randomness of evil, and about the ability to identify potential killers before they act. The trial showed no obvious warning signs, triggered no red flags, and gave no indication that he was capable of such brutality. He was, in many ways, the perfect example of how dangerous people can hide in plain sight. The Belvedere Flintmakers left San Diego railing, a family torn apart, on what should have been the most peaceful night of the year.
Thomas is here. Are you ready to explore? Tap on the level to get started.
The entire family. Just 3 years later, another case unfolded in the same region. Early at the beginning of the family invasion without a trace, the ended with a thrilling discovery in the desert.
Cinders and ashes. Some of the tracks are missing. Can you help repair the
I'm just
railroad?
going to see it through the
Tap on the lever when you're ready for Thomas to start moving.
great brother. The great father. He would have done anything to protect those boys in the summer.
This is Michael McStay. On February
Now
4th,
Thomas can get to
2010,
his
his brother
destination.
Joseph McStay, along with Joseph 2000s, Joseph met a woman named Summer Markel. She was a successful real estate. Joseph liked her. She was energetic, motivated, and ambitious, just like Joseph. It didn't take them long to start dating, and pretty soon they had
Drag the
baby boy.
correct tiles from the tray to the grid to fill in the missing tracks.
Shortly after he was born in 2007.
Tap on the lever when you're ready for Thomas to start
the
moving.
McStays had added another baby boy to their growing family. They named this one Joseph, after his father. And not long after he was born, they started looking for a house suited to a larger family. They both loved California. We found
Please
out
try
about a
to
town
twist
down
your
south
soul.
called
You'll help
Fallbrook.
Thomas get across
Located
the
in San
puzzle
Diego
island
County,
and beyond.
Fallbrook was a quiet town with just around 25,000 people living in it. It was known for one thing: avocados. In fact, the people of Fallbrook were so obsessed with avocados that they held a festival for it every year. When Joseph and Summer visited Fallbrook, they saw a place where the kids could grow up peacefully and safely. They saw the potential
Drag
for
the correct
unborn
tiles from the
happy
tray to the
life.
grid
And
to
so,
fill in the
Joseph
missing
headed down to
tracks.
Fallbrook to find a home for his family.
Drag the correct tiles from the tray to the grid to fill in the missing tracks. Tap on the lever when you're ready for Thomas to start moving.
It was a beautiful place. Not too big, not too small, just the right size for a family of 4. With room for a couple more, of course, just in case Joseph and Summer decided to expand their family a bit further. In December of 2009, the McStays moved to Fallbrook. Some reports suggest that Earth-inspired products was worth about $1 million, so the family was doing extremely well. Indeed, videos from Joseph's own YouTube account show them living a positively idyllic lifestyle.
You've made Thomas very happy.
That looks absolutely perfect. How did you do it? Yeah? You made it with this Italian
A new island.
cappuccino machine? And you steamed it up the milk for Mama's cappuccino? And then you made the coffee right here, the real deal, baby? But didn't you have to grind the espresso beans first? Isn't that just for him?
All is well, or at least it seemed that way. No one that saw this family would think that anything bad was happening under the surface. And indeed, all evidence points to the McStays truly being as happy as they appeared to be. But all of that changed in early 2010 when they seemed to fall off the face of the earth. On the morning of February 4th, 2010, the McStay family was as busy as they could be. Some of them
First, we need to lay out all the terrain.
since the family was still trying to turn the house into a home after moving in just a short while ago. While she held down the fort at home, Joseph headed to a Chick-fil-A to have a meeting with Chase. They spoke several more times throughout the day, and as it turns out, Chase Merritt was the last person to ever never see Joseph alive.
As far as you know, you were the last person, or at least one of the last people to see him, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we left there for the Monday.
You've placed everything you need from this shelf.
And I think Saturday.
Drag any object and we'll show you where it goes.
Drive off with the kids.
You're a most useful engineer.
And wide smiles. Their families assumed that they were off on one of their adventures. But by February 9th, at least one person started to get concerned. Chase Merrick. He called up Joseph's brother Michael, expressing concern that the McStays had been AWOL for so long. The next day, Joseph's mom, Suzanne, asked Chase to nip to the house and check up on him. When Chase got there, everything seemed pretty normal, except for the family dog being locked outside. While Joseph and Summer enjoyed impromptu getaways, they always left responsibly. Leaving their dogs outdoors was not something they'd ever do. So this was the first sign that something might be amiss. On February 11th, concerned neighbors started to get involved, asking police to come and conduct a welfare check. Police came and found no signs of forced entry. Since they couldn't enter the home without a search warrant, they headed back to the station without any further investigation.
You've placed
It
everything
wasn't
you
until
need from
February
this shelf.
13th that someone thought to look inside
That
the
looks
house.
great.
This was when Chase and Michael found their way in from an unlocked window. They found
You've placed
several
everything you
signs
need
that
from
the
this
McStays
shelf.
had left in a bit of a hurry.
But somebody seemed to be there whole great time. I don't know who. You know what they look like? The lady she was she probably remembered the name that she remembered she had seen him by white truck. Or a white truck. Chase said a white truck with a gray truck. So that's the sea truck. It's a Chevy 2500 stock truck on that. How long was the car?
While searching the home, Michael found out that Summer had left her prescription glasses behind. There was rotting food in the fridge. Every inch of the house seemed to suggest that the McStays hadn't gone off on a planned trip. On the 15th of February, the McStay family was finally reported missing. The investigation ensued, warned that we'd reach dead end after dead end. By the way, I post true crime and new cases here every day. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing. It helps a
Here
lot.
come the gears.
Since it
Now,
had been
place
over
Thomas
10
on the
days
tracks
since
so
the
you can
McStays
collect the
disappeared,
gears.
the case was handed over to the homicide squad. Oddly enough, even though the residence was
You'll
an
need to
active
paint
crime
another
scene,
terrain
police
to
allowed
complete
Michael
this
and
train.
Suzanne to enter. Suzanne wanted to pull out, claiming that she just needed something to keep herself busy. Michael,
pick up all
in the
those
meantime,
gears.
took Joseph's laptop home, though he returned it to the investigators according to their instructions. The very fact that he was able to take such a vital piece of evidence home in the first place was extremely unusual. When police finally started looking into the case, they turned their attention to the family's right this season. At around 7:47 p.m. on February
Good job,
4th, the
engineer.
vehicle was reported by a neighbor's
Congratulations.
security
What a
camera heading away
fantastic
from the
chase.
residence. This raised a few eyebrows. It was an oddly late hour to go off on a trip, which further suggested that the McStays had either run away haphazardly or they were forcibly removed from their home. However, it bears mentioning that the car in the security footage simply resembled the McStay family vehicle. It could have just been another car in the same make and model. But what police found out for sure was that the McStays' white Isuzu had been towed by authorities from a parking lot near the Mexico border. To be more specific, the car had been parked outside a San Diego strip mall that was known for being the last stop that people made before crossing over into Mexico. Authorities estimated that it had been left there between 5:30 and 7 p.m. on February 8th,
Well done.
although they had no idea where the car had been in the previous 4 days. Another thing that they could be certain of was that Joseph was still in Fallbrook at 8:30 on February 4th.
Let's try
The
that
call
again.
they made to Chase was traced to a local cell tower, so the family hadn't left the
That's the
community.
way.
Police now had the extremely difficult task
Well
of finding
done.
out what happened between 8:30 on February 4th and
Oops.
5:30
Let's
on
try that
February
again.
8th. More importantly, they needed to figure out why the family had just left their car behind and where they did
Well
it
done.
afterwards. Since the family vehicle was found right outside the Mexico border, investigators assumed that the family
was
had headed
great.
south. And yet, it was the manner of their exit that confused everyone. It was almost like they were trying to run away from something or someone. So rumors started circling about Joseph being involved with Mexican cartels. And while this story was completely random, the float by mistake. When police went through Summer's search history, they found out that she'd been looking into a trip to Mexico. She'd apparently been looking up the documents required to cross over into Mexico, and had even been searching what it was like to live south of the border. On top of that, it seemed like Summer had been learning Spanish. Is this all for a family trip, or had she been planning to flee to Mexico for some reason? It would have been extremely bizarre at that point, especially since she and Joseph had just bought a home at the time. But as it turns out, there was already a theory that tried to explain all that, and it that Summer has been dealing with before. One of the proponents of this theory was Rick Baker, a radio host that interviewed Michael and became interested in the case. He suggested that Summer had slowly been deployed before, and that she wanted to take the trip to Mexico when her husband was there. This was a theory that even Chase supported, or at the very least, he confirmed that Joseph had been suffering from some kind of mysterious illness right before he and his family disappeared. Chase also suggested that Summer was an extremely controlling person, almost to the point where she was abusive. This made it seem all the more likely that she'd taken her husband's life. So once again, this theory proves
Let's
basic.
add up those marks.
There's just too much evidence against this
And the
theory.
winner
For starters,
is
she hasn't made any major
the
withdrawals
hippo you want to play
which
with.
she most certainly would have done if the plan was to escape. And secondly, the
Playing
fact
with
that she left
friends?
the Christian Johnson company also refused the table, because she would have had all the necessary belongings packed up for people to come and work with her. In the end, one element of this theory remained a part of the investigation. Namely, that murder was involved. The McStays had been gone for so long that they were almost certainly deceased. The police started looking for suspects. The McStays couldn't move an inch, but there were a couple people that stood the police on the deck. Firstly, there was Dan Tower.
Let's
The
add up those
helped
marks.
Joseph's business become such a great success. He'd allegedly argued with
And
Joseph
the
about how
winner
much money
is
he could pay.
Sweetie Bottom.
As it turns out, he withdrew $7,000 right after Joseph disappeared. Could Dan be the culprit? The police chased down the lead, but Dan's credit card history showed that he'd been in Hawaii during that time, so he couldn't possibly get involved. Eventually, the case grew cold. Police theorized that the McStays had driven to San Cierto and crossed the border voluntarily, but this would turn out to be completely false. You see, the killer had inserted himself into the investigation. He'd been hiding in plain sight all along, and it would take 4 whole years for him to be brought to justice. On November 11, 2013, a motorcyclist traveling through the Mojave Desert found 2 shallow graves. Each contained the body of an adult and a child. He called the police, and when investigators arrived, they found a massive sledgehammer nearby that they took in for analysis. They found that the hammer had been used in the mistake and may have been a tool from the renovation process. The bodies were successfully identified as that of the mistake, and the sledgehammer was confirmed to be the murder weapon. What's more, police found tracks from truck tires nearby. Since they were in a remote part of the desert, they were perfectly preserved. So police were able to compare it to the tracks of trucks belonging to people the McStays knew. One of them proved to be a perfect match. Chase Merritt. The impounded Isuzu was checked again, this time more thoroughly. Last time around, police had assumed the family had crossed the border
Beat the clock before the pieces pop. Choose a board.
They found DNA evidence which once again matched that of Chase Merritt. Then came the cell phone records. According to Chase's phone records, he'd been at that exact spot on the 6th of February, 2 days after the McStays went missing. All the evidence, circumstantial though it was, pointed to Merritt being the culprit. On November 5th, 2014, he was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Play again to beat the clock for an even faster time. Congratulations, you've unlocked a new board.
piece together what had happened. It turned out that Merritt had a criminal history stretching back 4 decades. His exploits included burglary, trespassing, and receiving stolen goods. These facts made Summer dislike him, which is possibly why he tried to pin her as the culprit during his interview. He also happened to have a serious gambling problem, and his debts have been growing every year. And he wasn't just in debt with the casinos either. Merritt had also started borrowing money from Joseph at some point, and he owed him about $40,000 by the time of his disappearance. And that was just the money Joseph knew about. On top of everything else, Merritt had allegedly been forging checks in Joseph's name. He'd use his access to Joseph's account to cash the check and then delete the transaction. But this could only go on for so long. When the matter came to trial, prosecutors stated that Joseph might have discovered Merritt's financial misdeeds. It's possible that he confronted him about it, because Merritt happened to cash a forged check on February 4th. It's possible that this is why Joseph tried calling Merritt, and that the perpetrator eventually headed to the McStay residence. Police theorized that Merritt killed Joseph and his entire family on February 4th. They waited until the 6th to drive their bodies out to the Mojave Desert. The McStays never went to Mexico. They never even left California. Merritt had buried him right outside the town of Victorville in the patch of desert that he never thought anyone would come across. He then remained closely involved in the investigation to seem as innocent as possible, and it worked for nearly 4 years. Merritt tried to delay his trial multiple times by firing attorneys and even claiming health issues at one point. But in the end, he wasn't able to evade justice. He was convicted on all 4 accounts, with a sentence of life imprisonment for the murder of Joseph McStay, along with the death penalty.
Are you ready to create some crazy cuts? Choose a character to start styling. Which color will you pick? Looking good! Use these tools to shape, style, and cut. Get creative. The crimper. The clipper. The hair dryer.
Merritt has maintained his innocence since the end. He's claimed that he loved McStay, and he's not the person responsible for this crime. But the evidence bears difference. It painted the portrait of a man out of control. A man that killed a family behind his back. Merritt currently sits on death row with Sands Prison, where he awaits his sentence. So what do you think of this case? Does Chase Merritt's financial deprivation and betrayal of trust the driving force behind this horrifying act? Or do you think there's more to the story? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.
Add funky
If you like the way
accessories to
we
your
create these
character to give them a
videos and
cool
you want to
look.
help bring more cases like this to light, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Thank you again for watching.
Are you ready to create some crazy cuts? Choose a character to start styling.
Google Life 360. It's a location services app that has
Which
saved
color
our
will you
family.
pick?
You can see the places your kids are going. You can see how fast your husband's driving.
Awesome!
In cases of emergency, there's faster
Use these tools to shape, style, and cut. Get creative. The comb. Add funky accessories to your character to give them a which color will you pick? Use these tools to shape, style, and cut. Get creative. The scissors.
Like a laying of road lasts.
The clipper. The hair dryer. You got style.
In which they find her later, only accentuated their lack of attention to her desperate cries.
You feel safe?
As officers in Rio Rancho investigated the harrowing crime, a stark question emerged. Could they have saved her?
Hostess, it's your fault.
On the morning of April 5th, 2023, emergency services in Rio Rancho, New Mexico received an alarming 911 call from Henry Cardona about a hospice patient under his care.
Can you tell me exactly what happened?
Follow the rainbow path. Will you be the first to arrive at King Candy's castle?
Eat for your own safety. You get the hell out of here.
Tap Rabbit to choose who you want to play as.
I understand, and I recognize there is